welcome everybody to Into the Fire with Rob Reed, and it's a little change of a pace this time around. People are used to just seeing you, and now they got my ugly mug to look at here.
Yeah, we're changing it up a bit. We're trying to make it a little more interesting, a little more fun, a little more interactive.
Yeah, that's exactly right. A little bit more interactive. So what you've been primarily used to is Rob sitting here and he'll go through his fire protection lessons, he'll go through his business lessons, and he'll go through his everyday life lessons. But instead, we kind of want to flip it up a little bit more. We want to go into the fire. We want to talk about hot topics. Topics that are of maybe concern to you. Topics that maybe are top of mind with a lot of folks. And so I figured it would be a great opportunity to start actually interviewing Rob, because Rob has a bunch of different thoughts and opinions on different things, and they always interest me. So I figured, there's no better way to get them out of the man than to actually interview the man about some of these topics.
Yeah.
So today, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about mental health days.
Mental health days.
Yeah.
And why did you want to talk about mental health days today?
Well, because I think it's important. I think we all need a break from the stresses of life and sometimes the stresses of work. Stress comes from so many areas. It's not just work, and it's not just your life. It compiles because we all have different things happening at different times, different things that trigger us for different reasons. So sometimes you just need that day to escape.
It's true. And the thing that you and I were talking about that I found was very interesting was that when we were talking, it was about this idea of mental health days versus sick days.
Right.
And the fact that there's a lot of difficulty right now in businesses because some people are taking mental health days, but the executives, the HR managers, the CEOs, whoever's running the company, they look at that and they're just like, well, if you're not sick, I want you in the office. What's this mental health day stuff? Like, I don't agree with that. The only time you should be missing work is if you're sick. Like, what do you say to people who have that kind of philosophy today?
Well, you know what? First off, times have changed. So let's be aware that we aren't living in the 70s anymore, the 80s. We have to be understanding of the fact that, yes, there are more pressures. I mean, back when we had pagers, you looked at your pager and said, I'll call them in a few minutes. Now you have a cell phone. Now you're getting your emails versus you never carried a fax machine in your pocket. So the ability for customers, clients, management themselves to get in touch with you and say, this is what I need and I need it right now, adds all that extra stress, all that pressure that was never there not that long ago. Right. And so when you think about needing maybe a little break from that once in a while, is that such a terrible thing? I look at some of the staff and the things that they go through at times. And we recently had one of the fellows was off for a few weeks because he had some work done, an operation taken care of. Okay. Now, because he had a physical operation, everyone goes, oh, yeah, no problem. There you go. We understand why you're off.
Right.
But because it's a mental issue, people don't always see it. And because it's not there, you don't react to it the same way. Yet people still have those things that they're struggling with. And do they need a day? Sure they do. Do they need sometimes a little more time than that? Maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. Now, obviously, we need to be able to qualify that. And in some cases, people have to bring in doctor's notes and things like that that say, yes, this person is struggling with whatever they're struggling with.
Right.
But we can't sit back and go, oh my God, they're just loafing.
Right.
That's not the case. They really do need a break.
So do you find that it's important, or would you recommend that employers, CEOs, HR managers, they truly understand what their employees are going through? Like, for example, if you see a pattern in behavior where, they're missing a lot of time, they're coming in sick a lot. Like, we start to look for patterns. We start to look for behaviors. What do you do in that case? Or what do your staff do in this case?
Well, that's fairly simple, to be honest. When we see the pattern, and yes, they are out there, and yes, we see them. First step, sit down with them. Get their direct supervisor or manager to sit down with them and kind of do a little probing. Sometimes these things are very sensitive, and quite often the conversation stays between those two people, but they understand what's going on. Quite often, it doesn't even filter its way up to me, which I'm fine with. I don't need to know what's going on as long as the supervisor, if I ask a question, the supervisor says, I've got it, I know what's going on, I'm good with this. Okay, good enough for me, I trust my people. But I have heard different stories that in some cases, everyone thinks, he misses a lot of Mondays. Yeah. Brown bottle flu, right? And you find out that, well, they're not the one with the brown bottle flu, it's a family member.
That's right.
And they are dealing with a stressor outside of the workplace.
That's right.
And, again, you got to work with your people. And when you give them that flexibility, and here's the other interesting thing, Ryan. I find quite often that when people do that, they take the time.
Just a road
I got him, yeah.
Did
mosquito.
you actually catch him?
I got him.
Mr. Miyagi over here. I should put some chopsticks in between those hands.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Impressed.
Yeah.
On a morning, too.
And 3 sips of coffee, I'm raring to go. So, excuse me, there's something stuck in my throat there, too. I guess I should have ate
It's
it.
the family member, that's why.
Yeah.
The other fly got you.
Yeah, for sure they came in there. Yeah, they're circling above. But, and I kind of lost my train of thought there. Stupid thing.
That's the worst.
But
I want to maybe go back to, this is actually a call for empathy. Mm-hmm. Right, it's a call for empathy where you just mentioned, people look at them and they say, somebody's calling in sick a lot on Mondays. And the first thing we think of, honestly, our mindset is, this person's a slacker. They're always calling in sick from work. They're not giving it their all. And we start to judge unfairly. And I think that in today's climate where we're talking about mental health a lot, where we're talking about taking personal days versus sick days, increase your empathy. Mm-hmm. Maybe ask more questions. Why are they always sick?
Right.
But here's the thing too. It's delicate. Like you said, it's very delicate because you can't just go up to somebody who's showing a pattern of behavior and say, why are you always calling in sick all the time? Mm-hmm. Right? They might not want to share it. They might not be ready to. It might be too sensitive of an issue.
Right.
And so that's where it gets very complicated, where maybe it's just easier for us to judge because it makes us feel better and makes sense of the world rather than just having more empathy and having a little bit more compassion for our fellow colleagues.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this goes back, Ryan, to some of the stuff we talked about in the past. Like I've talked about team building and trust in different shows in the past. And people, you hear me talk about it, you see me blog about it and all the great stuff. If you've truly built that and you've got that true trust with the person, they're going to sit down and it may be uncomfortable, but they will share, and they'll also understand that it may not go past that person because if they, you say, keep this one between us. We're having a little private conversation, all right? Let's keep this between us. Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
It doesn't go any further.
That's right.
Like I said earlier in this show, you have to make sure that you build that trust, you maintain that trust, because it doesn't need to come up to me. Mm-hmm. I need to be able to trust my manager that they have had the conversation, they're comfortable with what's going on.
That's right.
That's all I need.
And that's such a big point. It's a constant theme, and it's a constant theme because it's a part of the values of Bison Fire Protection is trust at the foundation.
Yes, absolutely it is.
Without trust, we can't have conflict. Without conflict, we can't have accountability.
Right.
And as far as that's concerned, when we have a base of trust, we can have those open conversations. We shouldn't be scared to talk with one another about certain things.
Right.
And I hate to say that, but there's really no topic off limits because you have that level of trust.
100%.
So, but there's a lot of companies out there who don't have that kind of trust.
That's a fact.
And so that's an unfortunate situation because then you are going to get the judgmental approaches to people. You're probably not going to get they deserve to have a mental day. They deserve to have a personal day.
Yep,
right?
Absolutely.
And you're not going to have that. And that's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. I can kind of share a story. I was talking to somebody the other day who mentioned that one of his colleagues was off. They'd had some surgery done, and that he'd been emailing back and forth. He'd been still staying in touch with his clients and contacts, doing as much as he could just to support. And from higher up, they said, well, if he's healthy enough to email, he should be at work. And they went, oh, there's absolutely no way this guy can be at work right now. He'd had some pretty delicate surgery. It wasn't happening. They switched over to using private emails, their own personal emails, to communicate with each other, just so that the company would give this guy the time he needs to rest. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
Can you imagine? And that came from some corporate HR guy that, out of the city, out of the province, who, this is our rules and this is what we do and you follow this. And
it's hard, man.
Instead of allowing this guy to support his customers as much as he could comfortably, when he could, they shut him down completely. So where does the customer service go? Because when you've had a long-term relationship with somebody, whether it's a supplier or customer, if they're hurt, you know about it.
That's right.
You're again empathetic to the situation. You're wishing them well. You want them to get better, but you also have to allow them the time to heal.
That's right. I agree. So what do you say to those organizations out there, those companies? What message do you send to them right now if they're watching right now where they do offer sick days, and they have the thought that, listen, like, if you can send emails, you shouldn't be sick, or listen, we don't believe in mental health days or personal days. We only believe in sick days, and you better be sick if you're not if you're going to take a sick day. What do you say to those companies that aren't offering their employees personal days?
Well, I'm going to say get on the bus. I mean, honestly, it is time for you to start reevaluating what your people do for you, how hard they're working for you, and all the things that they bring to the company. And sometimes they need a rest. They 100% need a rest. One of the points I was going to make earlier before Mr. Fly flew into the show and shared some time with us here, I guess everyone wants their 15 minutes, right?
I guess so.
But quite often I have found that when our people have taken that day because of extenuating circumstances, they're still working from home. They're still opening their laptop. They're checking emails, or maybe they're doing a quote. They're doing odds and ends. They're not focused on an 8-hour day like they are here at their desk, but they're still productive. They're still engaged. They haven't dropped a customer. They're doing things. So they're getting some time that they need to deal with whatever it may be, but they're still paying attention. They haven't completely disengaged from the company.
That's right.
So you're getting kind of the best of both worlds. They're getting the rest that they need. They're getting a little break that they need. And yet, in a lot of cases, the dedication, because we're treating them properly, they're treating us properly.
I was just going to say that. When you treat your employees properly, the employees want to be a part of the company. They don't want to escape 100%. But guess what? If you treat your employees like garbage, they're going to want to take a lot of time off. And when they go away, they want to cut it off. They don't enjoy the work that they do here. There's no trust. So how much are you getting out of them?
Right.
So you want to invest in your employees. You want to invest in building trust with them. And I know that it's so much easier said than done to say, build trust with your people, because building trust takes time. It takes investment. It takes communication. It takes vulnerability.
Absolutely. I'll give you an example. I mean, just last week we had one of the guys took 3 days to go golfing with some friends. You know what? Great. You've worked hard. You've enjoyed it. You need the time away. But part of his email to me and his staff were, I'm still going to be available by phone or by email if something critical comes up.
Beautiful.
That means give me some time, but if it's critical,
I'm here.
And of course we left him alone, and at least I did anyway. I don't know if anybody else did, but I think that the rest of his staff respected the fact that he wanted some time. But we also respect the fact that he said, I'm here if you need me.
Of course. And you know what? You're going to keep that in mind as well. And you're probably not going to want to bug him. But again, it's just respect through and through, right?
Yeah.
He respects the fact that, he's taking 3 personal days, and you respect the fact that he's taking those personal days.
Yeah.
And you'll reach out to him if something comes about, but more often than not, you're probably not going to have to.
Yeah. Well, more often than not, if something is going on, he wants to know about it. He wants to be involved.
He's engaged.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I mean, your team is there to pick it up when you need them to. Now, I'm quite sure we went through days and there was not a blink. Not a problem. We didn't need him. Thought for the future. I'm joking. That's
awesome. He's watching it, just rubbing his head.
Yeah.
Oh God, what's Rob saying?
Yeah, no more personal days.
All right, I'm going to put it on you now, okay? So, congratulations, first off. Big win. 7 years in a row as one of the fastest growing companies in Canada, which is a tremendous accomplishment. So congratulations to yourself and to the entire Bison Fire Protection team, because, can't do it by yourself. It takes a team to get there.
No, 100%. Thank you for that, Ryan. But I'm going to say this one is on the team. They're the people that are making the connections. They're the people that are servicing the customers. They're the people that are moving the paper through the company. They are the people that are ordering the stock, servicing the suppliers, all of the things that need to happen day in and day out. They're the people that are finding the continuous improvements in the company that allow us to achieve those kind of goals. So, I can set the tone and I can, attend the meetings and be part of that. But they're the ones that are the boots on the ground that make it happen day in and day out. And without them, trust me, these awards don't happen. So thank you, everybody. Again, you've all heard me say it. Say it again. Thank you for your hard work day in and day out.
Love it, brother. Love it. So my point there is 7 years in a row, Bison Fire Protection is one of the fastest growing companies in Canada. My man over here, you got to take some personal days yourself, don't you? Or are you just not taking any personal days? What's the rule here for the CEOs?
Okay, so I mean, if I was to put my hat, ask the staff around here how many times they hear me talk about the, as we're Friday and everyone's going, weekend's coming, and I say, that 2-day interruption in our fun.
Nice. That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Because when you enjoy what you do, and I truly do, I just, I love the job, I love the people, I love the industry we're in. It's always given me the flexibility to do what I want to do. I'm in a good place with the company that I get to spend a lot of time doing the things I enjoy doing. You know, it's funny, one of the managers not long ago said, you know, I'm really glad you're doing the show because you obviously just enjoy it so much. And I said, yeah, absolutely, I am enjoying it. But look at what it's doing for us. So it gives me some time, right?
Yeah.
You know, so those, you know, doing the show helps.
Yeah.
But, you know, do I take a day here or a day there? Yeah, once in a while. Not that many. I mean, recently we took a Friday, but I took the whole management team with me.
Oh, awesome.
You know, so we all went fishing. We had a ball.
Nice.
You know.
Good team building.
Good team building. We
Love
had
that, man.
so we all had a mental health day.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, for the most part, we kept the work on a shelf and just spent some time as a group of people having a couple beers, you know, barbecuing some steaks. I did a big fish fry. A few of them went golfing. You know, we didn't all have to do the same thing. It was very unregimented. Just we're here to have some fun and get to know each other even better than we do.
Awesome.
And that worked out well. So, you know, on top of the fact that we had some fun, it turns into a team building project or program, or call it what you will, because everyone got to know each other again that little bit deeper than they did before.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, again, for yourself, obviously what you do connects very deeply to your purpose. And you hope that CEOs, executives, entrepreneurs, freelancers, whatever they do, connects deeply to their purpose, you know, so they don't have to escape from it. But it's okay to do that, to take your time away. Like you take vacation just like anybody else does.
Absolutely.
You know, you take your personal day with your team, which was great.
Yeah.
But again, just to say that, listen, as a CEO, as the leader of an organization, it's okay to take personal days as well.
Oh, yeah. You know, on a long weekend, as an example, it's usually a 4-day weekend, and especially during the summer, it's usually, you know, I'm on the road to the lake, and everyone that's followed things sees my feet up at the cottage often enough that they know I enjoy getting out there. So, you know, Friday afternoons, like, don't ask me to do anything because I have said so often, especially here in Winnipeg, that I wouldn't go to an afternoon business meeting on a Friday because every successful business owner's at the lake.
That's awesome. That's a good point.
You know what? And I know they're going to be,
Yeah.
I'm going to get a bit of those right now. But
Wait a second. I'm not at the lake. What are you saying? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm joking as well. But
I know. So as we wrap this up here, I want to always end off this episode with a question to the Into the Fire community, because the community online has been very supportive of the show. They've been very supportive of what you're doing here. So it's your opportunity to ask them a question. Right?
Sure.
Something about sick days versus mental health days, personal days, whatever you want to call it. What's a question or a comment or something you want to pose to the community?
Well, you know what? It's almost more of a comment that I'd like to put out there. You know, understand the difference between a mental health day and a mental health issue, right? And that's a big one, because a mental health day is, again, it's going fishing, it's going golfing, it's doing something, and I'm talking about the things guys do. Ladies have their own hobbies and things that they enjoy, and, you know, all that kind of great stuff as well. But a mental health issue, I can sum it up like this, is you need something, a pill or something to help you get out of bed. That's a mental health issue. That's when you're dealing with somebody, a professional, to help you get through your problems. Two different things. Mental health day is kind of a break, a rest, you know, get your thoughts, kind of just let everything kind of run off a little bit.
Right.
So be aware that there are the two different things, and one is not the other. If you're having mental health issues, I can't stress enough that, and I've said this to so many, you know, staff members over the years. I make it sound like there's a bunch of crazies here, but sometimes you have to be to work here, right? But honestly, I've had this conversation when I know someone's struggling, when I know they're stressed, and I'll sit down with them and have the, you know, the one-on-one and say, understand, we have a benefits plan. Use it. You know, it isn't about, you know, yes, the dentists and the prescription drugs and, you know, all the different stuff that we have that goes with that, the common stuff. But remember, we have the things in there to see people, the benefit packages. So get in and see somebody that can truly help you get back on your feet.
Love that. I love that.
You know?
No, absolutely.
And I'd love to hear back from anybody that has any feedback on this, and love to talk about it a little bit more. But you know, we're a family here, and if one of the family members is struggling for one reason or another, we have to take the moment to stop and help them out. That's important.
I love that, Rob. I love that. So again, this is episode 17 of Into the Fire, where we flipped the script on them here. They were expecting just you, and now they got my ugly mug to look at.
Yeah.
You know, we're still putting out good content, and for us, we're trying to tackle more of the hotter issues, right? Into the Fire, hotter issues. Huh? You see what we're doing here? And Rob and I have such great conversations about these issues, these topics. So we figured it was time that we innovated and continuous and never improvement.
Absolutely.
Always the name of that, to change the show up.
Yeah, always finding new ways to share great ideas or create great conversation.
That's exactly it. And that's exactly what we're trying to do here. So if you have any comments, any feedback, any stories that you'd love to share, please engage Rob on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. If you're not following him, give him a follow on all of those. Comments in the YouTube as well. That also works. Also a like and a share. We always appreciate that too. So in any case, that is episode 17 of Into the Fire with my friend Rob Reed. And we will catch you back here next week for episode 18. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you.